Hi, Empress Justice here, and welcome to the Empress's Court Pick a Card reading. Now, I was struggling for a theme for this, but I thought, why not base everything on the Queen of each minor arcana suit? Okay, so what we've got is we've got a selection of cards here based upon the strength and power of feminine energy. Now, if you're a male or you're a masc, you can join in too. But this, I won't lie to you, this is specifically a reading for all of those who want to connect with their womanhood and their femininity. It is a timeless reading. And again, if you're a masculine or a male person, you might find something here that resonates with you. But yes, this is all about where your power lies. As a femme, as a woman, as a, feminine presenting person, this is for you, right? This is the Empress's Court Pick a Card reading. Hopefully you've already made your selection. But before I get into that, just a brief reminder that December is 15% off. I am going to be taking a break from private readings from the 21st to the 27th and also on the 2nd of January. But you can still book now in December. There will be slots available for next year. And anyone who books now during December will get 15% off, regardless of whether or not your appointment ends up being scheduled in January. Okay, so that's just a reminder. When it comes to mailing lists for the general public, it is empressjusticetarot77@gmail.com for inquiries and mailing lists. For targeted individuals like myself, it is realjusticetarot@gmail.com. Now, without further ado, let's get on with the reading. You should have already made your selection here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with number 1, okay? So let's remove all these ladies from the equation right here. Now, if you chose this card, you chose the clear quartz. This card right here represents duty, the duty of the feminine, which is always in the mind of the woman. What is my duty to the world? What does the world expect of me? This is something that a woman or somebody who is feminine presenting tends to think about quite a bit. What service can I bring to the world? Whether we admit this to ourselves or not, this is what we think about. At the same time, this is a highly independent queen, okay? The Queen of Swords. This is a highly independent queen, a highly self-sufficient queen who can do much for herself. So when you're talking about somebody like this, not only are you talking about your duty to the world, pile one, but you're also talking about what career should I be doing? Which direction should I be moving in? That is a consideration on your mind right now, okay? So if you chose this card right here, you're thinking about what it is that you have to teach people. You're thinking about how you can reinvent yourself to become your most powerful self, not so that you can get what you want out of it, but because your mind is so focused on what you can bring to the world and how the world could be better. So you're trying to reinvent yourself based on that. And then on top of that, if you've picked this card, you may be close to achieving a life goal that you've been working on for quite some time if you pick this card. If you've picked this card, you're also quite a perfectionist, and there's a lot of past trauma healing that might need to be looked at as well if you chose this card. And the clear quartz, of course, it's a crystal of clarity, but it's also a crystal of rebalancing. Quite often, the Queen of Swords can become so cynical that she forgets her own frailty and the frailty of other human beings. So this clear quartz calls for balance. And what the Queen of Swords needs most is forgiveness, is softness. And the best way to do that is to actually show compassion to yourself and to others. You will not meet expectations all the time, and that's fine. That's not something to be down on yourself about. But yes, if you've picked this pile, the likelihood is that you're very focused on how the world needs to be better, how you need to be better, what goals you have career-wise, and how you can become more powerful in the world, and how you can have your presence felt in the world. Another thing that I want to guard you against, though, Pile One, is being too bothered about what other people say about you. You can be very direct, and you can even be quite cutting. But the thing that kind of annoys me about a Queen of Swords personality is that they're so cutting and so direct with everyone else, and yet when they get the same energy back, they act bothered. No, don't do that. Don't be bothered when other people have to say what they want to say. You have to be able to take what you dish out. That's part of having power. That is part of, it doesn't just come from without, it also comes from within. When you have that power from within and you know who you are, you can afford to be direct without having other people's opinions bother you too much. The last thing you want to do is be a mean baby. That's the last thing you want to do. Okay? So that was for you, Pile One. That was the surface level cards. Now I'm going to get into the actual cards underneath the Queen of Swords, okay? A lot of information there. So for you, Pile One, we've got the 10 of Swords. We've got the King of Cups. We've got the 9 of Wands. Hang on, let me put all this here. And then for your oracle cards, we have Mummy Water and we have Bridget, Don't Back Down, you see? Now, when it comes to, what I'm seeing is that there is long-term success ahead of you, all right? But there's a lot of bitterness that is happening, Queen of Swords, and it's not coming from you. It's coming from other parties. This is you. You're protecting against the bitterness. You're protecting against the resentment. And I feel like the reason why people are so bitter and resentful of you is because you are so powerful. And it's because your words hold so much weight. It's because you're able to get people in line without people even liking you. And I feel like that's building up a lot of resentment. It's building up a lot of jealousy and, even mental violence on other people. I feel like when it comes to you, though, you are actually emotionally maturing. You're turning a corner. You're kind of already on the journey that you need to be in terms of finding forgiveness for other people. But you've started with yourself. Now, this is the funny thing about it. Both the Queen of Swords and the King of Cups are about duty. But whereas the Queen of Swords is about duty on a logical and rational level, like she's sharp-tongued, she's cool, she's clear, she knows where to cut the fat. The King of Cups is all about duty, but he's almost in the opposite direction. He's in the direction of, nurturing, compassion, forgiveness, understanding people's flaws and not judging them too harshly. And I feel like either there's a male or masculine presence in your life that is like this, or it could be you yourself that actually has that mindset right now. You may be in the mindset of forgiveness and maturity and understanding people's flaws and making room for them. So either you have a masculine presence in your life who is like that, or it's you who's like that. But one thing I don't see from you is bitterness or revenge. I feel like this is what you're on the receiving end of. And I feel like you're actually doing the best that you can to protect yourself against this resentment. Now, your advisory cards, Pile One, are Mummy Water, Naked, and Bridget, Don't Back Down. Now, your vulnerability is being revealed little by little, and it's a good thing, okay? Because the more vulnerable you are, the more people you're starting to get on your side. But just because you are being vulnerable, it doesn't mean that you have to back down from what you know is the right thing to do. You see, this is what everybody does with vulnerability. And, it's not a judgment. It's just what human beings do, okay? When we are in the presence of somebody who is vulnerable, we have this instinct towards taking advantage of people who show that vulnerability. Now, we can't help it. It's just something that we do. Right? It's something that a lot of human beings do. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, I'm not like that. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. A lot of us are like that. without realizing it. Like it's part of life. When somebody's in a good mood or when somebody's let their guard down, it's easier to ask them for something, or it's easier to suggest something to someone when they're in a vulnerable state than it is to ask of someone or suggest to someone when they're on the defensive or when they're not vulnerable. It just is what it is. But there are people who are going to try to use your vulnerability to take advantage of you. And this is where the Queen of Swords has to make a return, and you have to be like, I don't know what you thought this was, but just because I'm being vulnerable and just because I'm opening my heart, it doesn't mean you can take the piss. So that strength that you have as a Queen of Swords, that strength is valuable and necessary. But as with all things, Pile One, it is all about what? Timing. Okay? And understanding how to be vulnerable without being taken advantage of, that is a very important part of not only your path in terms of career and in terms of success and in terms of reinvention, it's also important on your path as a leader. Because if you are Pile One, let's be very, very clear. You are an innovator. You are a leader. You are the one who kickstarts everything. You are the one who is the first to come up with the ideas. So in order to blaze a trail like you will do, like you continuously do, in order to blaze a trail like that, you cannot be taken advantage of. You cannot be, nah, none of that, right? But the irony is that the more you open yourself up to vulnerability and the more you understand where your vulnerable spots are, it puts you in a position where you are better able to defend those vulnerabilities. And you're able to do it more effectively because you know where your vulnerabilities are, and you will know where that wall needs to be built. And it's a slow process, but I believe you get it done. Okay. But yes, I am looking at your past trauma being healed. I think the bitterness and revenge is something that is aimed at you. I don't feel like it's something that you have to deal with personally or that you hold in I don't think you hold any of that in your heart. I think the perfectionism is due to your career path. It's due to you knowing exactly what you want to do and what you're meant to be doing. So I feel like the perfectionism and the incisive criticism is because you're so close to a goal, you can taste it. Like you can literally taste how close you are to accomplishing your goals. But it's like, you're so close. But there are people waiting around with daggers drawn. And truth be told, they're not very powerful people. But it is something that you have to watch out for. I am going to say that it is something you have to watch out for and you have to guard against. And you will do so quite capably. But again, people are going to mistake your vulnerability for weakness. Don't let them make that mistake. As Bridget says, stand up for what you believe is right. That is the one thing that the Queen of Swords has a natural gift at. Maintain that gift. Maintain that self-respect. Is that it for the Queen of Swords, for pile one? Why am I being drawn to the cards now? I'm being drawn to the Hoodoo Tarot for you guys. Let's see. I was going to reach out for the Oraculum, but I don't know. Oh, hold on. Hang on. Do I need this many cards? Yes, so you're going to be on the defensive and you're going to defend yourself very capably when it comes to what's going to happen next. I've got the Father of Coins, which is, which supplements the Father of, which supplements the King of Cups. So I feel like what will happen is that duty will be transferred into finding ways to, okay, so the way it works is that if you are good at making money, then you're good at taking what people enjoy or taking what people love and monetizing it. I feel like that's what will happen for you, or for a masculine influence in your life. With this, I do see that this is why I said that you need to kind of stand your ground a little bit when it comes to your vulnerability. Is because you will be around superficial relationships, and because they're superficial and because they're not that close to you, they will try to take advantage. I'm not going to lie to you. They'll try to take advantage, and you have to be like, no, I'm not doing that. Right? But you have to find ways to do it that are more, I don't know, that are more diplomatic and less direct. Right? So you have to find ways to stand your ground that are more diplomatic and less direct. But I got this for you too, Black Herman. That's the Magician card. I feel like you are, I feel like you're on your way to doing incredible things, Pile One. I'm not going to hold you. You are honing your skills. Like, again, there's that perfectionism. You're honing your skills. You're really paying attention to what you're good at. Like, you're so focused and you're so driven at this time. And it feels like you're applying a lot of that direct, sharp, cool energy towards actually making something of your life right now. That's if you haven't done it already. If you haven't done it already, you're taking all this direct energy and you're applying it towards making something of your life. If you have already done that, if you're already in a place where you can honestly say, I've accomplished something, then this is you taking that energy and leveling up. That's what's happening. Okay. Well, let's see what else I can get for you. I think that's it. So that was for pile one. That was for the Queen of Swords crew. Okay. My Queen of Swords and Clear Quartz crew. That was for you. I have been Empress Justice, peace and blessings. I hope this resonated. Take care. I love you guys. Bye-bye, my darlings. The Queen of Wands. Pile two. Now, if you chose pile two, the likelihood is that you are an incredibly loving soul. The rose quartz is the stone of unconditional love. But people get the wrong idea about a person with unconditional love. People think that unconditional love means non-judgment. It means like, just taking what everybody gives you and not giving anything back. It doesn't mean that at all. Like, in fact, a truly unconditionally loving person has a very healthy sense of self, a very healthy sense of boundaries. They know when they're not prepared to take shit. It's just that the way in which they do it, they tend to be a bit more assertive, and less dominating. So they're assertive in laying down their boundaries and standing up for what they believe is right. But it's like they persuade rather than command. They persuade, right? And because they persuade and because they have that strong sense of self that doesn't need to dominate other people in order to make itself heard, it means that people around them can take them for granted a little bit. I feel like if you're pile two, I feel like you're an incredibly strong person, but that strength comes from love. It doesn't come from, it doesn't come from coolness. It doesn't come from duty. It actually comes from the complete opposite. You are so focused on your pleasure, and not just pleasure in terms of like hedonism, like sex or food or anything like that. You are pleasure driven when it comes to the work that you do and when it comes to the life that you lead. When you dress, it's dopamine dressing. When you exercise, you're not just focused on how your body looks. You're focused on the way that you feel after you've done the workout. I mean, truth be told, like after a workout, you feel good anyway, but like you go for workouts that maximize the pleasure factor after you've done the workout. That's the type of person you are. Every single thing that you do must maximize the state of pleasure and the state of bliss. That's the energy that you're on. And because you're on that energy, even though you're not complacent, even though you're not lazy, even though you will always find something to do, I don't mean you don't rest. That's not what I mean. I mean that you are active, you are on the go. It's not that you don't take any time for yourself, you do, but you are active and on the go and everything. But because everything that you do is from the perspective of working for or towards your bliss, you may not feel as fatigued as other cards. Do you understand? You don't feel fatigued. You don't feel tired. You don't feel like, run down. You don't get run down very often. And that's because you dedicate yourself to what you love and to what you're passionate about. Again, pleasure with the Queen of Wands is never it's never a shallow enterprise. It is always, how do I put this? It's never a shallow enterprise with you. Love, pleasure, these things are not shallow. It's something that you live by. It's something that you strive towards in everything that you do. And, people think that, that's why you have so much confidence and so much. People think it's delusional, but it's not delusional. It's just that you have so much love in your heart for everything and everyone. It kind of folds in on itself and it manifests as this powerful, gregarious, funny, passionate, sweet, authentic, confident person. And that's who you are, Pile 2. Either that's who you are or that's who you're becoming. Right? You're becoming this person who is incredibly strong, but that's because of the love you have in your heart for everybody. Now, when it comes to this card right here, you are becoming more image focused if you chose this card. Like if you're Pile 2, you're becoming more image focused. So you're not just thinking about yourself in terms of like, how can I impress people? No, it's like you're using branding when it comes to how you present yourself in the world. It's like you're really thinking about, okay, so how do I want to come across to, again, check out Zoe Unlimited for that, Pile 2. The Queen of Wands crew are thinking, how do I want to appear to my future boyfriend, to my future, like, I'm thinking about my dream life right now. That's your mindset. I'm thinking about my dream life right now. And I'm thinking about what my dream life would think of me in this moment. Would it want me to be there? Or would it want me to be different by the time I got there? So who is my dream partner? Or my dream spouse or my dream partners? What is my dream occupation? What is my dream tax bracket? All of these things are things that you're thinking about right now. And you're thinking about, well, how does my life reflect that? How does my clothing reflect that? How does my physical being reflect that? How do my friends reflect that? How does everything in my life reflect what I'm trying to accomplish? And you're starting to think, you know what? I need to shift myself physically in order to actually match how I want my life to be. So you're going to be thinking about that a lot. If you've chosen Pile 2, then it's likely that you're thinking about that a lot. All right. And a lot of you are juggling lots of different things in the air. You're juggling a lot of tasks in the air. You've got a lot of fingers in a lot of pies. But again, because you're doing everything from love and from passion, again, it doesn't feel like you're tiring yourself out at all. Okay. I see music or a musician here. I also see that you may travel. Some of you may travel and you might meet a potential partner or a potential lover when you travel out somewhere. Okay. Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, that's what's going on for you. Love is everywhere. I also feel like A lot of you, pile 2, are starting to contemplate, am I successful where I am? And if I'm not successful where I am, I need to move on to somewhere different. Now, I don't see you moving house. Some of you might, but I don't see you moving house. What I see you doing is I see you moving careers, or you're changing the nature of your clientele, or you're changing the nature of what you do. Like, again, it comes back to branding. Am I truly successful where I am right now? And where my clientele is right now? Am I truly successful where I am? Right? You know, if it's a job, am I truly doing what I'm supposed to be doing in this job? Is it getting me somewhere? And I feel like you're contemplating that too. So I feel like there's also the question of, where is it that I'm truly appreciated? Where is it that my voice is heard the most? I feel like that also comes into your branding, because finding out where your voice is most valued is also a major part of how you attract your dream life, because the more you feel validated is the more you will behave in a way in which you are validated. And it's the more that you will attract the life that you actually want. So all of these questions are really about love and about passion and about joy. So that is where your mind is at right now if you've chosen pile 2. Okay. Oh, and also this is connected to nature. I should say that. Oh, I've got one. Sorry. This is connected to nature, right? So yeah, that's another thing that you have to consider. Some of you might get pets. Some of you might get pets. I feel like with Queen of Wands, right? I feel like Queen of Wands are very free spirited, and I feel like the only thing they can really have in their lives long term is a pet. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I feel like that's the only thing they can really have, is like a pet who kind of reflects their love of life and their joie de vivre. I feel like I feel like some of you might consider getting animal companions, and truth be told, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd get some plants too. Not many, but get like a couple of plants around the home, like to, you know, just to feed your joie de vivre, you know. But yeah, nature is also good for you. Getting out into nature and, you know, enjoying nature in ways, like I feel like that will really reinforce you too. Okay. So yeah, that was for your Queen of Wands portion. Now I'm going to get into the other cards. So we've got the 8 of Pentacles, the 8 of Swords, and we've got the Temperance card. And for your Oracle cards, we have Manifestation and Rhiannon, Sorceress. First of all, I want to get into the fact that there are 2 8s here. 8 is usually the house of challenge, challenging the status quo. It's also the number of infinity, eternity, cycles. It's also the number of finances. So the fact that you've got number 8 in these 2 suits makes me a little bit concerned, but like, we'll see what we can get from these cards, okay? But also we've got Temperance here, which is a good sign, because it means that I feel like you might be reconciling these 2. But let me see what's going on. So there are those of you who are learning a new skill. There are those of you who are like, it's like there are different things happening here. When it comes to your life, your material life, you're learning new skills and you're learning new ways to do things. But in your mind, you're not 100% confident. You're not 100% confident in what you're doing. And I feel like there's conflict here. With this here, there's conflict. And I feel like where the conflict is in between your mind and your body. Your soul and spirit, they're less conflicted, because it's like they're both free-spirited. They both long to be free. and they don't have that much conflict. But your mind and your body, it's like your mind feels stuck, but your body is like, you know what, can we just pause for a second? Because there are things that need to be done. There are things that need to be taken care of. I feel like there's a lot of frustration here. I feel like there's frustration here because that wants to be free to do what it wants. But this is like, no, there are rules to abide by. There are things that we have to do in order to make sure that we can have that beautiful life that we want. There are things that we actually have to do in order to make sure we have to have that beautiful life. But where the bad mix comes in is where you try to reconcile the two rather than using that polarity to your advantage. Okay, I'm a little bit stunned that came out of my mouth, but I feel like you're trying to reconcile the two. Like, no. I need you to get behind my choice. Like, your body needs your mind to get behind your choice. And your mind is like, no, you get behind your choice. Like, it's like, my God, it's like, it's like there's a sense of duty here, right? In order to strengthen this, there are certain rules that the Queen of Wands has to abide by. Maybe not so much like Pentacles rules, but swords rules, right? There are certain rules that they have to abide by in order to actually have that freedom to do what they love, right? But it's like your body doesn't want to do that. Your body doesn't want to be independent or be sovereign or be free or any of that. Like, your body wants to be looked after, and your body wants to, have comfort around it while it learns what it needs to learn. And that's not a bad thing. You should have that. But also, where your mind is concerned, your mind wants to be free. Your mind wants to be independent. Your mind wants to, and it's like you're trying to reconcile that, and you're trying to stop that mind from being like, you know what, we can't think like that. We can't be independent like that. Like, no, do not heal that polarity. Don't do that. The only two things in your life that should be united are your spirit and your soul. Your emotions and your actions, those are the only things that should be united. Your mind and body, leave them where they are. They are separate for a reason. Because any separation within the mind and body is telling you where you need to redirect your life, where you need to actually redirect and think again. Like, where is it in your life that you need to redirect? Like, where do you need to, that's what I mean. You will find success when you find where you're supposed to be. If your mind and body are in conflict, instead of trying to heal them and trying to force the situation, listen to those doubts. Where are you supposed to be? Where are you supposed to be? If you are not where you want to be and your mind and body is in conflict because of it, use the generated energy from that polarity to put yourself in positions that you do want to be in. Okay? That's how you heal this. That's how you stop a bad mixture. That's how you throw out the bad mixture and you throw out the bad, and you make room for the good. That's how you do that. And also consider that you might be bored, pile two. You might be completely bored, and you might not be like, and it might not be necessarily a bad thing to acknowledge that you're bored. Like, people get bored. This is the thing. Boredom and envy are two of the most looked down on emotions next to anger. Anger is like not as looked down on, but envy and boredom. People never like to admit to being angry. Being angry is one thing, but like across the board, across genders, across anything, People do not like to admit to being bored, and they do not like to admit to being jealous. Why? Because to admit to being bored or being jealous, it's ungrateful. It's a downer. People don't like to admit to that, but you have to admit to yourself where you're actually bored in your life. And if you are bored, you have to like use your dividing rod to find out where you're meant to be, rather than just allowing yourself to kind of, be stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in. Use that polarity to drive yourself towards places that you do want to be in. That's where love comes in. That's where the joy comes in. That's where that comes in. Of course, you do need to be connected with how the world works. You do need to understand how the world works and how it should work in order to live a life of pleasure. You do need that. But nah, if there's conflict here, that remember, number 8 is the sign of challenge. It's the sign of challenge, and challenge is the opposite of peace. The number 8 in the tree of life, in the Sephiroth, is supposed to be peace and glory. And if you've got earth and air in a glory number, it means that there's challenge. It means that you need to challenge something in order to rectify that. Okay. All right. Yeah. But I do think that this polarity is actually generating a lot of magical energy. And again, soul and spirit is what actually allows this to become what you need it to be. So the source of your manifestation is that polarity, and channeling it into spirit and soul, using that as a dividing rod to figure out where you want to be. That is going to be the key to the source of your power. And you've got so much power to spare. Remember, all that love energy that you hold inside you, that is what is causing this. Mojaji, manifestation, and Rhiannon, sorceress. Yes. Like, again, like when I started this reading, it seemed like it was not a very good place to be. But now that I'm looking at it, you're actually very fortunate. You've got a whole bag of beautiful manifesting energy that you could easily use to get what you want. And this is like this is manifestation energy. This is the foundation of manifestation energy. And this is where you need to be. Hone it and channel it into manifesting the life that you want. Don't try to heal that polarity. Use it. Either put yourself in the direction where you want to be, where your mind and body are on the same page. Well, you can do both. Put yourself in situations where your mind and body are on the same page. And when they're not on the same page, use that polarity for your manifestation work. Just make sure that your spirit and your soul are on the same page. Make sure your feelings and your actions are on the same page. Your mind and body do not need to be on the same page at all. Do you understand? So I already got one card for you, darling. Hang on. Let me just put this in the middle. So this is powerful, peak powerful manifestation energy. Let me put that baby there. So I did the Hoodoo Tarot. I got this card, the Daughter of Knives, which is the Page of Swords. It's honesty without thought. So I feel like many of you are going to be saying what's on your minds. And yes, like that feeling trapped inside your mind, you're going to communicate that. That will open the door for you to manifest what you do want. So you actually vocalizing what you're dissatisfied with, you've opened up the door to receive what you do want. 6 of Baskets. I feel like there will be some respite away from too much intensity. I feel like you will be, I feel like you're going to attract people who have your mindset. You're going to attract people who have the same mindset as you, who are just as bold, who are just as loving, who are just as you know, but it's like they have your qualities, but those qualities manifest differently. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they're just as loving as you, just as fierce as you, just as direct as you, just as assertive as you. They persuade, they don't command, right? But it manifests differently in accordance, as compared to, it manifests differently to you, if that makes sense, right? Oh, now this is interesting. This card right here represents the Tower. Now, I've talked about the Tower before in a reading, and I said that when it comes to Uttara Palguni, which is what this pick a card reading was based on, when it comes to the Uttara Palguni last quarter, sorry, it's a timeless reading, so don't beholden it strictly to the moon phase, this particular lunar phase. But I talked about this being less about having something crash around your ears, and it was more about you coming into your personal yes, you do. You coming into your personal power. All the things that your mind fears or is taught to fear, that's going to become the source of all of this. It's going to become the source of your power. Yeah. So if you are pile 2, be aware of how the things that you fear or the things that you didn't want to happen, be aware of how they manifest, because that's where your power is actually going to come out. That is where your power is actually going to come out. That is where you start attracting the life that you want. That is where you start getting the love that you want, the passion that you want, the joy that you want in all facets of your life. It's like you have to sacrifice something in order to have all of this incredible power, and you are going to have it. But this is the thing about the so-called sacrifice. It's not going to be something that you really value that you're going to lose. It's not going to be something really valuable that you're going to lose. It's going to be something that, you could have done with it, but it's not going to be something that you're going to regret losing. You're going to realize, okay, I didn't need that. And my life, the trade-off, it's almost completely uneven, because it's like the trade-off that you're going to make, it's like you lose something that you didn't really want, and the price that is paid for that, for losing that thing that wasn't really that important to you, the price you pay for that, or the price that spirit pays for that, taking what you didn't want anyway, or what you didn't need anyway, the price that spirit pays for that is that your manifestation powers really kick into gear, and that it really sets you off on a course where you are getting exactly what you want, and how, not even just what you want, but how you wanted it. You are in for a wild ride. Pile 2. You're in for a wild ride. I'm telling you that right now. And it all started with dissatisfaction, a bad mixture of mind and body. It all started with that. Like a seed of negativity was what, created this big F off tree of positive energy and of the life that you wanted. And like, it's going to be magnificent. Maybe it's just the Sag moon in me exaggerating shit, but it's going to be magnificent. You're going to be looking back and thinking, oh, okay. Yeah. Crazy. This is crazy energy we're looking at here. So to recap, pile 2, you're rethinking your life, how your life is represented. You're rethinking it, and you're rethinking how you want to live your life. And you've got a lot of fingers in a lot of pies. You may meet, a lover or a partner when you travel out somewhere. Your body wants comfort, but your mind wants freedom. But it's like that polarity, the bigger that polarity grows, is the more you gain manifestation power. Don't be afraid of the conflict, use it. And then use that conflict to actually channel your spirit and your soul, that's your actions and your feelings, into attracting the life that you do want. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. And I feel like maybe your partner, or maybe they have the same mindset. You're already attracting friends of the same mindset, but I feel like you'll meet a partner who has that same mindset, or a lover that has that same mindset. Let me see if that's it for pile 2. I think that's it for pile 2. Crikey. Okay. So that is for pile 2. I have been Empress Justice, my lord. My God, today. My God, pile 2. My God. Queen of Wands crew. I love you guys so much. Peace and blessings. And lots of love. All the love in the world, I swear. Take care. Bye bye, my darlings. The beautiful Queen of Cups. So pile 3. What have we got in store for you? Well, I've got to tell you, pile 3. If you chose this card, I usually associate the amethyst with this particular card, but I'm actually going to be honest with you. This amethyst energy, it only really applies to Queen of Cups people that are really evolved. So if you're an evolved kind of Queen of Cups, then it's likely that you will have very clear spiritual guidance, that you're very self-confident, but it's self-confidence that's in a quiet way, that you don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone. You're aware of your flaws, but you don't down yourself for your flaws too much. And, you know, you love the spiritual, you love the occult, you love everything to do with that. But if you're a less evolved Queen of Cups, then you can be, you know, you're very beautiful and very fashionable and very, very charming and funny, but you can be all over the place. You have the same free-spiritedness as the Queen of Wands, but you have the neuroses of the Queen of Pentacles sometimes. And I feel like that causes an internal conflict if you're not that evolved and if you're not that grown. At your best, you can be a fabulous natural therapist. You can be somebody who is very, very good at seeing people's problems, understanding people's problems, and knowing how to heal people emotionally. At your best, you can be incredibly compassionate and incredibly empathic. You can see people's viewpoints without taking them too personally. So that's at your best. For other pile 3s, though, your emotionality could cause problems with your finances. It can cause problems with how you judge yourself and how you judge other people. So whilst you've got all this wonderful charm on the outside, on the inside, some pile 3s can be a pit of jealousy. And that's because your emotions are so strong that it can actually interrupt your self-identity. It's like the spilling of the sacral chakra. The flooding of the sacral chakra can drown out the fire of the solar plexus. If you're not careful, it can actually extinguish the fire of the solar plexus. That's symbolically, right? So, you know, at your lower level, you know, some of you, not all of you, can be so emotional that it actually interrupts your sense of self. It interrupts your ability to find your own voice. And when that happens, you can become beset with jealousy, even with things and people that you never really wanted, but because somebody else has it and because somebody is happy, like more crucially, because somebody else is happy, some of you can give way to jealousy. So this is a real sink or swim selection right here. If you've picked pile 3, this is a real sink or swim selection. Invariably, you guys are gorgeous, charming, attractive, sexy, name it. You're it. That's you in a nutshell, right? Invariably, you're very attractive people to be around. You're very captivating people to be around. But there are some of you who are, you know, who are so compassionate and so sweet, like you hold so much power in you that it manifests as you being very chill, very nice, you know, not bothered about other people's opinions. So that, you know, that's one half of the group. The other half of the group is like, you know, I do care about what people think, you know, but I'm very judgmental, and, you know, and because my emotions are so strong, I don't really know who I am. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of duality here with the Queen of Cups, more duality than I think with the other queens of the other suits. Okay, so one positive thing that I can see here, another positive thing rather, is that I feel like some of you will be very open to learning new cultures and learning new languages. I feel like that's another thing that is invariably a Queen of Cups thing. Like just this openness to different viewpoints, just this openness to different ways of being. And like, you know, again, the Queen of Cups has a very free-spirited nature, but, you know, sorry, the Queen of Cups' comfortability with their emotions actually colors whether or not they're comfortable with that free-spirited nature. And I feel like another invariable thing about this pile right here is that you guys are very interested in foreign cultures and and I feel like that adds to your attractiveness, and that adds to your flavor, and that adds to your personal style, because you kind of think a little bit outside the box in comparison to other people. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but again, it depends on how self-confident you are. And yeah, I feel like either some of you are learning new languages or you're learning new cultures. I feel like that's a really good thing. But let's have a look at the cards underneath this. So we've got the Hanged Man with Chloe Sevigny. We've got the Four of Wands. And we have got the Ace of Wands. So this is looking good already. This is looking pretty good. We got some very quintessentially watery cards here. So we've got Mawu Lisa. The dual, you see what I'm talking about? The dual god. Mawu, the mother, and Lisa, the father. Cosmic power. And then we've got Dana, High Priestess. So this is real High Priestess energy. This is real psychic energy that we've got here. I think that's the most watery thing that I've ever seen. I think that's the most watery thing that I've ever seen. These two cards right here. You know, she's a moon goddess, right? Anyway, let me have a look at what's in store for you. Okay, so there are some new things happening. There are new things on the horizon. New beginnings. You know, I feel like some of you are making a fresh start, but there are delays in those plans. Those plans are somewhat derailed. But I feel like you're not allowing that to slow you down. I feel like you still have a healthy amount of fiery energy to generate some new ideas. And I feel like, you know, if I'm honest with you, that would put a lot of pile 3s in the evolved category when it comes to the Queen of Cups. So it's likely that there are some of you who are already very self-confident, and it's that self-confidence that's allowing you to actually think of bigger plans while your new beginning is basically halted at the moment. So you're not taking this delay personally. You're actually thinking of new ways to improve your life. you're thinking, okay, while I'm waiting for this thing to happen, how can I make sure I'm prepared for when everything kicks into gear again? And this is a wonderful thing. This is a great thing. It feels like, oh, this is very good. Okay, so it feels like a lot of you are very grateful for some of the things that you've gotten. Like I talked about, oh, not finding yourself with it. And then this reveals that a lot of you are very grateful for what's happening in your life at the moment. It feels like a lot of you are, you know, it feels like you're getting what you want. It feels like you're manifesting things. There are things that you've manifested that are coming to pass, and they're coming to pass beautifully. And I feel like that is, yeah, and I feel like that might be the reason why you're not impatient, because you know what's coming. So in the meantime, you're preparing for plan A right now. You're looking at ways to get your money up. It's like you have a new lease of life when it comes to new people that are entering your, there are going to be new people who enter your life who are more on your wavelength. I feel like there are happier times ahead. Some of you might attend parties. Some of you might attend, you know, gatherings that are really happy and that are celebratory. I feel like some of you may meet new members of your family, of your blood family or your chosen family. Some of you may meet new family members, but it feels like there are happy occasions happening right now. So while that's in wait, you're enjoying your life. You're not like just, you're just not ungrateful right now. Like, you're not ungrateful at all. You're just actually taking the time while this is in stasis. You're taking the time to enjoy your life, to make sure your life is fruitful, happy, all of that. So that's what you're doing right now. You're making plans to get your money up, and you are enjoying spending time with new people, amongst new people who are adding something to your life. And yeah, things are, you know, it's on a smaller scale, but things are quite positive at the moment. This is supposed to be a timeless reading, but for pile 3, I see there's a lot of positivity happening here. This is really very good. And you're very much in balance because of it. Now let's have a look at these two here. Maulisa, Cosmic Power, and Dana, High Priestess. You have divine knowledge that can help others through your spiritual teaching. I feel like when you are getting caught up in that, you might forget about this. Like I said before, it's a wonderful thing that you're in balance. It's a wonderful thing that your emotions are in check, but they shouldn't be too much in check. All right. Reinforcing pleasure and reinforcing your joy can actually enhance your intuition. So it's not just, you know, it's not just like the third eye stuff with, you know, with Saturn. It's not just hard work that can help you reinforce your intuition. It's also pleasure. And when you get little silent hints that a situation isn't comfortable or it's not a place you want to be in, listen to that. Listen to that. Listen to your intuition and listen to your instinct. And also, if you are if you're interested in the esoteric field, and I'm not gonna lie to you, if you watch my channel or any tarot or astrology channel, you're likely going to be interested in divination of some kind. I feel like you should learn simple forms of divination for yourself. It will start with giving yourself like 5 minutes every day just to sit and reflect. And then you can build that meditation up. And then once you build that meditation up, you can maybe have some oracle cards. I think oracle cards are a good place to start. Or, you know, tarot is not for the faint of heart at all. You have to have a real strong sense of self to be able to read the cards properly. But I feel like some oracle cards, or maybe some bibliography, like flipping a random page in a book, for a question that you need answered, that type of thing. And, it's important that you maintain connection with your divination, and also bodily sensations as well. are really good for intuition and instinct. You know, bodily intuition, like knowing how your body feels in a particular situation or about a particular situation, like being in tune with nature, sensing when nature is about to do something. All of that is intuitive, and all of that is divination too. So I feel like scrying might be a useful thing to get into, you know, like fondling stuff, like, whoa, see, what energy is this carrying? That type of thing. Do you understand what I mean? I feel like scrying, or like, yeah, like just getting the energy of something, like just simple ways of opening up your psychic channel. Do you understand what I mean? I feel like now is the perfect time to do it too, because I'm surprised that I'm about to say this, but pile 3, it feels like a lot of you are quite stable. Even the lower frequency people, it feels like you're quite stable because you've got so much pleasure happening in your life right now. This is the perfect time to hone your psychic abilities whilst your mind is clear, because this is the thing about joy that nobody realizes. Joy is a clarifier. So whilst your mind is being cleared with laughter and joy and happiness, now is the perfect time to hone your intuition. It's perfect. It's actually perfect. So this is what you need to be doing. You need to be honing your divine gifts and utilizing the joy and the pleasure and the clarity of mind, like utilizing that to hone that energy, because you will have enough of a sense of self to not take the divination personally. That's what I've found. That's what I've discovered. All right. So let's see what we've got for the hoodoo tarot deck for you guys. I almost didn't do it. I feel like the guidance for you guys is very simple. I don't feel like there's any need for extra cards, but got to be fair. You've got to be fair in these things. Okay. Oh, that's what you want, isn't it? That's exactly what you want. I love this card so much. Oh my gosh. All right. Oh, perfect. What a perfect card. All right. Okay, so even with this present, because this is supposed to be the devil card and this is the sun card. Oh, this is great. Okay, so I feel like a lot of the people that I'm talking to with pile 3, a lot of you are in your evolved phase right now. Very chill, not caring too much about what people think, being compassionate and empathic without letting it drag you down too much, you know, and just very connected with the divine forces. I feel like, oh, this is fabulous. I feel like you're actually doing extraordinarily well in business, some of you. I feel like you're doing well in maintaining your assertiveness too. There is something about your energy that's just like, even though you're lovely and you're chilled out, you're still very assertive and you're still very powerful. With this right here, oh, why do I get the feeling that isn't you? It's either you or someone else, but it's just like, there are big things happening. There are big, huge, positive things happening, but there's like little details you have to take care of, or somebody else has to take care of. I feel like there's an element of that. Some of you might be surrounded by petty people who are determined to be negative or determined to be petulant. I really don't feel like that's you. I feel like that's someone else. There's somebody else in your life, pile 3, who sees how, you know, who just sees how wonderfully bright your light is shining, who sees the sun in your heart, and they're trying to steal it. And it's like, they're not even doing it out of malice. They're just doing it because they're bored and they're miserable. But it's like, it's not you. It's like, you know, there are little people in your life, like they're very small. They're very small people. And I'm not talking about small as in age, or I feel like their mentality is small. Whereas you are kind of expanding your mentality. Now, usually this devil card is to do with ego and becoming drunk on your own charm. But like, no, like that's not what this is. You understand fate and you are working with it and you are honing it and mastering it. And because of that, there's this glorious focus on your part on the simple joys in life. And it's like you're not allowing other people to dictate how you feel about your life. So it feels like there's a lot of strength and a lot of security here. But then again, there's the amethyst. Maybe the amethyst was closer to the truth than the Queen of Cups, but pile 3, that's where you're at. You have a strong sense of self, and it's coloring your emotional life in a positive way. You have a lot of power here. There's a lot of power that you're generating, and you're using it well. It's not like you're using it badly. You're using it well. You're not taking advantage. You're not like, no, none of that. You're using it in exactly the way you're supposed to be using it. And even though there are delays here, you're finding ways around your financial concerns. You're finding ways around money. You're finding ways around these things. So like, yeah, very positive reading for pile 3s. I wasn't expecting that, but you know, I'm very happy for you. I'm happy that I'm happy that it turned out this way, pile 3. I'm not going to lie to you. So yeah, that's it. That was for the Queen of Cups crew. That was for the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Cups crew, pile 3. I have been Empress Justice. Peace and blessings. I love you guys so much. Bye bye, my darlings. Last but not least, my green aventurine beauties, the Queen of Pentacles. I know it's Pentacles. I just pronounce it Pentacles. Okay, don't at me. Okay, so green aventurine is your stone. So I should have prepared beforehand. So forgive me for being just a little bit unprepared on this one, pile 4. But that's the thing about you, isn't it, pile 4? Whilst everybody else around you is unprepared, you know exactly what to do. You know exactly how to handle your life. You know exactly what's going on. And you plan and prepare everything, don't you? You plan everything accordingly. If I had to get a read on your energy, I saw something great on Reddit, I think it was, where they described the Empress as Mrs. Weasley from Harry Potter, and they described the Queen of Pentacles as Brie Vanderkamp. And I feel like, yes, you have nurturing energy and you have loving energy and motherly energy, but it's like you know how to turn all those instincts into material wealth. And you know how to turn these things into power. And you know how to turn these things into ways to bring more abundance in your life and the life of those around you. Because Brie Vanderkamp, like, she does all her own chores and stuff like that, but she's also like like Brie Vanderkamp in Desperate Housewives. She becomes something of a Martha Stewart type. It's like she turns all her household chores into ways to make money, and it ends up with her becoming, I think, becoming a Republican Senate, like by the end of the series, but I don't know though. But yeah, she turns her power, she turns her ability into, ability for homemaking into something that she can turn into money and then later power. So yeah, I mean, my goodness, hell of a woman right there. I mean, I think all of you would agree on that one. I'm trying to find your crystal though. I'm going to find green aventurine online and see what we get with that pile 4. Hold on. Okay, so I still got the mic on me. Thank God. I love these microphones. I swear. Yeah, I should have prepared beforehand. Forgive me, powerful. Okay, so yes, wouldn't you believe it? But the green aventurine, which is what I assume this is, it looks like green aventurine, is actually to do with prosperity. So I just had this whole conversation where I was talking to you about how you turn your home life into something that you can use for your abundance and for your power. I was having that whole conversation and that whole spiel. And as it turned out, aventurine, that's exactly what this was. It was a way of you to turn your power, a way for you to turn your material duties and your, all the things that are expected of femmes and women, you manage to turn that into power. And I'm not going to hold you. It's not just the Martha Stewarts of the world who know how to do that. It's also the RuPauls. I told you, this is not just for us women. It's not just for us cis women. It's also for femmes, right? But feminine energy is being able to adapt to the situation around you and to transcend that and to turn that into your own source of power and abundance. And that's exactly what you end up doing. That's exactly what you do, powerful. That's how you operate, right? And because of this, I feel like you are probably the most financially abundant of all the piles that I've chosen. I feel like you're the ones who like to garden and like to grow your own food. I feel like you're the ones who, if out of everybody, you would be the ones probably owning more real estate than most people, or probably being more financially savvy than most people. I feel like out of all the piles, you will have the most communication with your ancestry. But if you have chosen this pile, you may find yourself out of your comfort zone and having to learn new rules as the world changes. And there will be plenty of spiritual growth from it, but there will also be some spiritual protection, because you will find that there are a lot of situations that you could have found yourself in that would have been dangerous, but spirit is right there to protect you from it. And I believe that's due to your connection to your ancestry, right? So yeah, like, you know how to make that bread. That's what I can say about you guys. You know how to make that bread. So let's put this aside for now and see what other cards you have. All right. So we've got, oh, this is interesting. We've come almost full circle here. King of Swords, Six of Pentacles, Death. And then we've got Sarah Lakali, Divine Lineage. Oh my goodness. Okay. And we've got White Tara, Sensitivity. Now, what's going on here? I feel like on top of being able to manifest great wealth by yourself, I feel like you'll be inheriting something important. There's a connection between these two. I feel like some of you will be inheriting something very important that could set your financial course off on a different trajectory. Of course, it's likely to be more abundance than you're used to, but I feel like your life is about to change because there's a new financial abundance. There's a new windfall coming, and I feel like that will set your life off on a different path than you anticipated. Okay. The King of Swords here. I feel like there are investigations happening with regards to a person's death when it comes to somebody close to you. That's for some of you. That's not going to be for all of you. But there's also, I feel like somebody in your life might be retiring, or I feel like, this is more accurate. What's more accurate is that I feel like some of you are shifting gears when it comes to your career as well. I feel like the additional money or resources that you will get may set you on a different trajectory when it comes to your career. I feel like things are about to change for you. This is the thing about Queen of Pentacles, right? And I get the same energy from the Queen of Wands. It's just when things are starting to get really, really bad for everyone else that you might find that you're in a better position than most. I get the same thing from the Queen of Wands as well, because the Queen of Wands knows who they are. So I feel like because you, as a Queen of Pentacles, you also know who you are, right? It's kind of, it means that you have like a solid foundation to build on. Like when everything falls away, you still have that solid foundation upon which you can build something else. So I feel like that's why when it comes to all this, I feel like you'll be in a really good position, because there's chaos going on all around everyone. And I feel like you'll be in a really good position. And when it comes to this card in particular, a lot of people associate this card with being cold and professional. There is that element as well, but it's like the Queen of Swords is a lot like the Queen of Wands. There's an emphasis on pure pleasure. Only whilst the Queen of Wands kind of rests in the pleasure and generates power from that pleasure, the King of Wands transmutes it. So he turns that pleasure and that hedonism into a source of power in which he can generate professional prestige and professional, a good professional career. I was watching a video on Hasta on Claire Narty early this morning, and it was talking about how, people with Hasta Moon business people, they lead these, these very abundant, luxurious lives, and, and it fuels the work that they do, or it fuels, they use it as fuel for inspiration behind their work. And I see a lot of that with King of Pentacles. It's that energy. It's the energy of, I play hard so that I can work hard, that type of shit. It's the type of energy where, in order to be one of the best stockbrokers, Jordan Belfort was taught by this stockbroker to be on all kinds of drugs and to purge them the next day so that they could be able to work. It's that type of thing. That's the type of energy that I feel the King of Swords is on. Only, of course, you're not going to take that to a destructive place. You're going to take that to a healthy place, right? And I feel like you will be in receivership of some form of pleasure, but instead of just resting on it, you're going to turn it into yet another way to make money and another way to gain power. So you turn duty into something that you can gain pleasure from, and then you take that pleasure and then you use that to gain professional success from it. And all of this comes as a result of the ancestral lineage that you come from and what you inherit from that lineage. Again, it sets you off on a trajectory, on a completely different life path than the one you're used to. So yeah, that's an interesting, it's heavy, but it's not heavy for you. It's an interesting trajectory that you see your life going into. With this right here, it says, you are becoming increasingly sensitive. Avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, and chemicals. I feel like because of this, you will need to surround yourself with people who actually want to make you feel good and not bad. I feel like you need to kind of distance yourself from anybody who would, who do any saber rattling right now. You need to be around people who don't suck, basically. Yeah, because there's a lot of heaviness going on. And you're likely to benefit from that heaviness, which is an unfortunate reality that some people have to deal with, but it is what it is, powerful. So with this, you've got the 8 of baskets, yeah. You've got Son of Sticks, which is the Knight of Wands. And you've got the Son of Coins, which is the Knight of Pentacles. And then you've got, you see, you're doing very well. Some of you have been moving independently, even though you never wanted to, and you've done exceptionally well here. And it's your success that's taking you out of your comfort zone. It's your success that's done that. Whereas with these right here, you are working on your passions, but because you're slow and methodical, you're likely to get a lot of things right first time. So I feel like what these cards reflect are you being taken out of your comfort zone as a direct result of your own success. And then on top of that, when it comes to your passions and when it comes to making money from what you do, you are learning new skills, but like you're taking the appropriate steps towards mastering and honing your talents and honing your resourcefulness. I feel like you're making all the right moves. It's just that you need to be around better situations and people. You need to not be around such raging hemorrhoids all the time. I feel like you need to be around people who are actually cool and nice and sweet and like fragrant. No, I don't mean like that. But I just mean like you need to be around people who are cool. You understand what I mean? So that's what you need to be doing. If you're a powerful Queen of Pentacles, right? You need to be around people who are fucking cool. That's what you need. Yeah? So let me see what else I can get for you. Okay. So I feel like I feel like that's it for you. To recap, you are probably the most financially abundant out of the piles right now, but you're taken outside of your comfort zone, not as a direct result of anything that you've done wrong, but as a direct result of everything that you've done correctly. So you're taken out of your comfort zone because of your own success, and you have to learn new rules and new ways of doing things as a result of that success. And you have a lot of ancestral power behind you, which means you're going to be very protected as the world turns and as chaos rages around you. Yeah. So that was it for pile 4. I have been Empress Justice, and thank you for being with me during this wonderful reading. I love you guys so much. Peace and blessings. Bye bye, my darlings.